The new Squid Game Season 4 trailer just got revealed, guys, and I'm not joking this time. And if you think I am, keep watching because this is unreal. And it isn't like the unusual trailers we're all used to. It shows details that we wouldn't believe and just gives us a taste of what this season can be. In one word, it's horrifying. Like and subscribe right now if you are excited for Season 4. I also want to give a huge shout out to Studio Sign Y for actually finding this trailer, so check him out for sure. Alright, so the trailer begins in a dormitory where the lights are off and the players are resting. We then see a girl crying and pleading with another player who seems to be her uncle. First of all, I think we can all agree that having a family member in the games is just so messed up. I mean, we saw how the mother and the son ended up in Season 3. Now we are getting another taste of family members being in the games together. Anyways, the girl is just terrified and she wants to leave the game. And while she's talking to her uncle, the lights come on and the staff of the games walk in. All of the players get up to find out what comes next, and that's when the manager starts talking. The manager declares that every player alive has completed the first game. Now, he did not say what the first game was, but I can imagine it was definitely red light, green light. He congratulated the players and showed the amount of players that survived the first game on a large screen in the dormitory. It was 197. You might be thinking, that's just a little over 250 players died in the first game. And normally you would be correct since the number of players in the previous seasons was 456 players. But here is where the tension starts to build little by little. When the camera shifts from the large screen in the dormitory, we see a player with the number 487 on his tracksuit. Whatever it is you're thinking right now, I thought it too. Gion was player 456. He was the last player, but now we're seeing player 487. Is that the new highest number? Did they add a few more players to the games to mess with us? One of the players says that there are so few left. And yeah, over 250 deaths is a lot, but 197 isn't that few, isn't it? Well, that's where things get a lot more surprising. The masked manager then announced that only 197 players survived the first game out of 696 players that played it. Yep, you heard me right. I didn't stutter. So, 697 players went into red light, green light game, and only 197 came out. That means 500 players died in the first game alone. Do you know how crazy that number is? To put it to perspective, the number of players that died in the first game of the Season 4 is more than the total number of players in Season 1. That is just wild. The masked manager even declared that that was the most deaths in the first game alone in Squid Game history. I'm just trying to paint a picture of how bloody the red light, green light hall must be. Dead bodies piling up like it's a battlefield. Hearing such statistics normally inspires two kinds of emotions from players. The first is fear. Suddenly, the problems that caused them to come into the games no longer feel like it's worth their lives. As for the second emotion, we'll get to that soon enough because it normally comes later. For now, it's fear, and it takes over in the trailer. We see a woman who is crying and saying that they should let her leave, and she will find a way to pay her debts by herself. I can see the horror in her eyes. She is completely terrified of dying there and leaving her child in the outside world without a mother. Another player, a man, remembers that as much as he needs the money for his sick mother's treatment, she still needs him, and he cannot take care of her if he's dead. It's very funny how death puts things into perspective for us, but it's quite scary too. The masked manager hears their pleas and reminds them that they signed an agreement, which restricts them from leaving the games on their own. Now, at this point, I was worried that the season didn't give players a chance to leave the games, but thankfully, I was wrong. He just meant that one player couldn't just get up and leave the games. They have to vote it in a majority, and the popular vote wins. But I guess some of the players misunderstood that, like me. Player 487 was one of those players, and he did not take it too well, so he threatened to get violent with the masked manager and his staff if they weren't let go. And this turned the players' fear into rage. They clearly were about to get violent, but the masked manager pulled a gun out to shoot into the ceiling. All the players quickly dove into the floor in fear, and the other staff pointed their guns at them. This act alone made the players too scared to revolt. The masked manager then asked them to all remain calm, assuring them that he would not harm them without cause. One of the players stepped forward, reminding the manager that the first game had ended and they had the right to vote whether to leave or stay after each game. Based on the signed agreement, I think that the frontman and the manager were not expecting the players to want to vote after the first game, or at least they were hoping. I say this because after the players stated the right to vote, it was as though the manager was unhappy. Sure, we can't see his face through the mask, so we can't know his expression on his face, but we can hear it in his voice. He paused for a second or two before announcing that the vote will be taken immediately. But first, he asked them to take a look at the current prize being the amount of money accumulated from dead players. Now, this is where the second emotion comes in, alright guys, get ready for this. I know you think I forgot about the second emotion, but nah, I was just waiting for the right time. Anyways, the second is greed, but I like to call it motivation. Remember that after the first game, the players are terrified. A lot of these people had never seen someone die in front of them before, and all of a sudden, they had to live through an entire massacre, while also playing to survive. So fear was ruling through their hearts. But here's where the game's manipulative tactics come into play. Remember how the piggy bank didn't just come down with money in it already. They would always first lower the empty piggy bank, and then they'd start pouring money into it. It's a tactic and way of seducing the players. They're not just hearing the amount, but they're seeing the money rain. And seeing that alters something in their brains. It makes them greedy, makes them think that the circumstances aren't that bad, and that they have the chance to win so much money. They become motivated to go the limit. Suddenly, they don't want to go home anymore. Suddenly, they think that they're going to be the lucky one. As though Squid Game is a gambling game. It isn't. It doesn't follow any strategy. It preys on the weak. Strong, smart, slow, big, small, and all. Anyways, unlike the previous editions of the game, this season will not use cash. Instead, it makes use of gold. You know how they say all that glitters isn't gold? Well, this glitters and this is gold. And I don't know what it is about the glitter of gold that makes humans' biologies attracted to it. But I am telling you that as a worker wheels the bars of gold into the dormitory, the eyes of the players are going to light up like Christmas. Although the trailer ends before the worker gets into the dormitory with the card of gold, I can tell you that those players will be mesmerized. You know, like sailors under the spell of siren songs, being lured into their deaths. And if the death tool from the first game tool does anything, is that this season is going to be a bloody massacre. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't get up to 6 games at this rate. Players are dying so quickly. But that's about it for today's video. I hope you had a good time watching this video, and if you have any questions or thoughts, definitely let me know down below. I'm always out to hear you guys' side and opinions because I do want to elaborate on it. But yeah guys, season 2 the challenge is coming out in 3 days. I'm going to be streaming it as well, so definitely stay tuned for that. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out and take care. Goodbye.